Hi everyone, this is Lisa Marie from Artistry by Lisa Marie. Welcome to the studio. Remember, the links to download everything are in the video description. Today I am cutting out, folding, and coloring a printable coloring card. It's kind of my latest arts and crafts obsession for the holiday season. So cut it out, tape it down a little bit, that way it doesn't, move around too much on me. And I'm going to be using Prismacolor pencils and pan pastels today. Jumping right in with my Prismacolor pencils. And the goal today is dramatic lighting. So a lot of dark shades on one side and lighter shades on another side of this coloring. Jumping right in with some nice dark blues, dark greens to get dramatic lighting in that mistletoe. And then some nice crisp light green for contrast. And the way I start with dramatic lighting, and there's bright yellow on one side, so again, nice contrast. The way I start with dramatic lighting is I pretend that there's a light bulb shining from one specific side of a piece of paper, and that helps give me an idea of, where the light is coming from, where the shadows are going to be. That's also why when I do dramatic lighting, I'll start with some darker shades, like with those berries. I'll start with a little bit darker shade, just so I can block out the shadows. I don't want to lose track of where the dark shadows are going to be. And then I can build up with a nice medium and then lighter color, just to get a nice sense of volume. Mistletoe is very, very quick and easy to color. It's just really fun. The dog, I'm going to start again, like I said, with blocking out my shadows. So I'm pretending that there's a spotlight coming from one direction, so I can get an idea of where the shadows should be placed. And it's by blocking out the shadows too, I'm sort of guiding myself so I don't have to keep reminding myself where the light's coming from. And it's a grayscale drawing, and as I often say in my videos, grayscale is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1 dark color, 1 medium color, and 1 light color. You start with those, and you can color grayscale. So I started with a darker color. Now I have a medium color, medium brown. And I am using my medium tone as a bridge, connecting the darker shadows to the lighter areas of the drawing. And with fur, it's kind of fun. I don't have to be as careful about being smooth. As long as I apply my pencils and colors with the flow of the fur, along the lines of the fur, I can keep that texture and it still plays well with the light. And once you have, your dark, medium, and light colors, then you can really have fun and expand your palette. Here I have a bit more orange now for another medium tone. And you can see how on one side of the dog, the darker side, I'm really laying a lot of colors down. And then on the other side of the dog, which is a lot lighter, that medium tone is basically being used almost as the darkest shadow, the darkest color. And that just sort of helps also to really get that dramatic light and dark effect on a single object, single subject. And I do layer my colors quite a bit. So now you have that light creams. That pencil is so short, and I am determined to use it up before I use my longer light cream. It's sort of once they get really short, it's a personal preference. I don't like it. I always want to just go on to the next long pencil, but I'm trying to use it up. I'm trying to be very, very good and diligent here. And then I give in and I use the long pencil. So I do a lot of layering, which means, I'll start with, this first layer of color, put all my colors down, I've mapped out my shadows and my highlights, and then I'll go back and I'll put another layer of color over that. Building up my colors that way kind of helps make them a lot more rich. That is a fantastic dark blue. And I'll write down the exact colors that I'm using so you don't have to guess. I'll have everything written down in the video description for you. But I love using a dark blue to really push my shadows. And I don't really use black very much. I think it flattens things a bit too much. But a dark blue, dark red, dark green, a nice dark color is fantastic for building in shadows, especially with dramatic lighting. And then like I said, layer. So now I'm going back to that dark blue, layering that over. And now you can really see the dark shadow building up. And just, again, staying with the flow of the fur, moving along the pencil lines, building up my layers. And another thing you can see, I think at this point, it's pretty clear. So there are the dark shadows, but I'm not going all the way to the edge in the darkest part where the shadows are. I'm allowing a little reflective light. So imagine that light coming from one direction. So one side is obviously much brighter and lighter than the other side, but you have just that one edge in the darkest part that's still light. And you have to imagine that the light is bouncing off of some other surface back onto them to create a little slight edge of highlight or reflective light in the darkest areas. And that helps create a sense of volume. It makes it visually more interesting. There's the white pencil. Again, I really want some nice highlights in there. It's a great contrast to the darker shadows that I'm doing. If you want some great examples of dramatic lighting, you can look at a Baroque artist. His name is Caravaggio. Fantastic with spotlight effect and dramatic lighting. It's always great to look at other, amazing artists for inspiration and to, sort of study and see how they did it. So for the nose, the tongue, and the lips, I'm actually using the same colors, but I'm weighing the colors differently. So the nose, it's a lot more of the darker coloring, and the lips, a lot more of the darker coloring. And the tongue, it's a bit more of the brighter red and the lighter pink. And for the nose and the tongue, I actually apply the colors in small little circles. So instead of sweeping lines that go with the fur, to get that textured, pebbly effect on the nose and the tongue, I do small itty-bitty circles to get more of a texture. But same thing where I'm layering my colors, slowly building up the color and shadow. With dramatic lighting, it's easy to go too dark too fast. So that's another reason why I kind of layer the colors slowly. So I don't just have dark sludge, which I have done. I have totally made dark sludge. And now pan pastels, so fun. And yes, that is an eyeshadow applicator. Another thing I like to tell people is if it's, delicate enough to go on my eyes, it's delicate enough to go on paper. So a little bit of red, a little bit of blue. Again, not black. I want color. I want depth and volume. And it's usually better to just go with darker colors than with a black. And then the lighter blue, and I'm just sort of doing little swirls and sweeps. I like motion in my background too, building up my colors for depth that way. Sorry, I really like watching pan pastels be put on paper. I find it very relaxing. Okay, so gonna just slowly build up my shadows and colors, again, layers and layers, blending very gently. And this, I think, here is where you can really see how it's useful taping the card down, the inside of the card, so that way when I do this background, it's not moving all over. And the yellow really helps here. So yellow, a lot lighter, just a lot brighter, and fantastic for getting dramatic lighting, sort of spotlight effect. And now, remember, I used the yellow in one side of the mistletoe, and now yellow in one side of the dog. And you can see how that is gonna seem like it's reflecting the yellow light of that yellow pan pastel. Little bit of pencil to just sort of push the shadows a little bit further. It's all about some fun, dramatic lighting. And you don't really think about Christmas card having dramatic lighting. So it was kind of a unique twist. Usually they're, very bright and colorful. So I just wanted to do something a little dramatic and different for this particular holiday card. And I give them to all my friends and family. They're kind of like my Christmas craft DIY gift for everyone. Then I'm just going to go over the lettering. Want to make sure it stands out a bit. And that will be it for today. Thank you for joining me in the studio. Remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video, and stay creative. Bye!